Okay, so today we're going to do the review for your second exam. So here we go. First one, we're going to decide whether the following statement makes sense or is clearly true, or does not make sense, and that means clearly false. So we're going to explain our reasoning. The problem is, when I figure out my monthly budget, I include only my rent and my spending on gasoline, because nothing else could possibly add up to much. So we're going to choose the correct answer. So A, this statement does not make sense because rent and gas prices are continuously on the rise. B, this statement makes sense because everything else she buys is so inexpensive that her monthly cash flow will not be affected. C, this statement makes sense because rent and gas are the only expensive items on her list. Or D, this statement does not make sense because everything she buys during the month will affect her monthly cost and overall cash flow. I hope you said D because that is correct, right? Everything we purchase during the month will affect our cash flow. So that is the answer D. So 2, compute the total cost per year of the following pair of expenses. Then compute the sentence. Complete the sentence. On an annual basis, the first expense is how much of a percentage of the second expense. Homer spends $18 on lottery tickets every week and spends $135 per month on rent. On an annual basis, the money spent on lottery tickets is how much percentage of the money spent on rent. So we know that we have $18, right? And there's 52 months in a year. So we have $18 times 52. If you do that math, you get 936. But we spent, or Homer spent $135 per month. So that's going to be $135 times 12, right? That's going to give us $16.20. But we want this to be a percentage, so we're going to take the 936 and we're going to divide that by 1620. Multiply that by 100% because we want it to be a percentage, correct? And that's going to give us 57.777 continuously. But on the exam, we know I always have you round to 2, so that's going to give us what? 57.78%. I didn't cross my sevens. There you go. Okay. So that's how you would do that one. Okay, let's move to the next one. So here we're going to calculate the amount of money you'll have at the end of an indicated time period. So we're going to invest $3,000 in an account that pays simple interest of 3% for 30 years. So we know by now, surely, that the first thing that we're going to do is make a key. So for our simple interest, we need to know P. P would be $3,000. And I see something that I didn't do up here. Purple. I didn't write our dollar signs here. Sorry. Okay, just saw that. So our APR is going to be, we don't want a percent though, right? We want to switch it so it's 0.03. Our year is 30. So for simple interest, we want to use our formula I equals P times APR times Y. And then we're also going to use A equals P plus I. These will be on your fact sheets, which Tyler gave you at the first of class, okay? So now let's plug and chug. We're going to have I equals $3,000 times 0.03 times 30. So if you do that math, you get $2,700. Now we're going to take $2,700, that's our interest, right? So we're going to add that to our P. So A equals our P, which is $3,000. We're going to add our $2,700. And that's going to give us, you guessed it, $5,700. So that would be our answer. So the amount of money that you have at the end of the 30 years is going to be $5,700. Find the annual percentage yield, the APY, in the following situation. The bank offers an APR of 6.1% compounded daily. Right? So what's our P? 1,000. Right? Our APR, we don't want a percentage, so we want 0.061. Our N, well, we know since it's compounded daily, that's 365. So now we know that our A equals 1,000 times 1 plus 0.061, right? We just use our compound, over 365, all raised, well, to 365 times our year, but our year is just 1, so we can say times 1, or you don't have to put times 1 if you don't want to. I'm going to put your year is 1 here, just so you know that. So if we do this multiplication, then this is going to equal 1062.89. We always take our A and we subtract our P from it, right? When we're doing APY, change colors so you can see what we're doing. So since we're doing APY, we're going to subtract 1,000 from that. That's going to give us, you guessed it, 62.89. But we're wanting to get a percentage, different color. So we'll take the 62.89 and divide it by our P. And multiply that by 100%. So when we do that, that's going to give us 6.29%. So 6.29 is our answer. Okay? So anytime it doesn't tell you what P is, just assume that it's 1,000, okay? That's how you do that. Now, if it tells you what P is, then that's what you use. But if it doesn't state it, you assume it's 1,000. Okay. All right. So here, we're going to use the formula for continuously compounded to compute the balance in the account after 1, 5, and 20 years. Also find APY for the account, which is just what we did up here, okay? So a $6,000 deposit in an account with the APR of 4.4%. Okay. So what is our principal? Find a different color. Our P is, I said principal, I meant P. Our P is $6,000. And our APR, which I just noticed if you download this off of the internet, or off of the, hang on, what's that called? Canvas page, I have R written for that. So I will remember to change that. But if it says R, it's APR. Okay. So then our APR is 0.044. Okay. That's where I got the classes mixed up, right? College algebra and you guys, and I put R instead of APR for y'all. Sorry. Okay. So here we're going to find the balance of an account after 1 year. So I'm going to number these and we're going to do them like in order. So this is going to be 1. I'm going to assign colors to them. I hope I stay with it. This is going to be 2. 1, 2, the others don't have to stay with it. So 1 is our 1 year. Okay, so let's go down here and do 1. So we're going to use, it's continuous, right? So we know we're going to use PERT because of this word continuous. We know we're going to use, it's not PERT. We're going to use the one with the E in it. Sorry, that's what happened when my classes overlap. A equals PE raised to the APR times Y. Let me get my cheat sheet over here. Okay, so we're going to use this one. So A is going to equal our P, which is 6,000. And then we're going to have our E, right? And then we're going to raise it to our APR, which is 0.044. And then what is our year? On this one, it's 1, so that would just be times 1. So when we put this in our calculator, our A is going to equal, what did you guys get? 6,269.89. Okay? So we take 6,000, you see it? We put our E in, we raise that to 0.044. You can put your 1 in, but you don't have to because it's the same thing. So there's your balance. Now let's do number 2, which is my purple. Same thing again, we're going to have A equals 6,000, E raised to the 0.044, but this time our year is 5. So you can just go up and copy and paste if you have a TI-84. If you have a TI-83, you're going to have to manually put it all in again. And this gives us $7,476.46. That's supposed to be. This has a dollar sign. Now number 3, my green. A equals 6,000. Again, E raised to the 0.044. This one, our year is 20. Us $11,465.40. Like I said, you could just go up if you have a calculator like mine. Grab this, go over here and put 20. Is my number wrong? Yes, this is a 14. Offline again. There we go. Okay, and then for number 4, which is my pink one, I hope. Yes. 4. I'm gonna check my number 2, make sure I did it right. 2, go over here and put 5. It was right. Okay, cool. 4. Now we're going to do our APY, okay? So we're going to take, that's after 1 year, so we know we're going to use this amount, okay? So we're going to have 69.89, and we're going to subtract our initial investment, which was 6,000. So how much does that give us? $269.89, right? APY, we always take this amount and divide it by our initial investment. So we'll divide that by our $6,000, multiply that by 100%. So if I could get this over here where you can see it, 269.89, divide that by 6,000. And then multiply that by 100. So that's going to give us 4.4981. I'm just going to stop there. And then we're going to round that to 2 decimals. So that'd be well, it'd have to be one decimal, right, because it's always going to round, so it'd be 4.5. So that gave us approximately 4.498, but if we rounded, it would be 4.5%. Move my pens back over here for us, and we'll go to the next page. Very good? Okay. So here we're going to find the savings plan balance after 4 years with an APR of 7% and the monthly payments of $150. So let's do that. Here we have our payment equals 150. Our APR, I remembered to do it right on this one. Oh, yay. So instead of 7, 0.07, right? Now what's our N? Monthly payments, right? So we know that's going to be 12. And our years is, correct, 4. I know y'all said that. I'm just guessing you'll know that. I know you know it. So now we just plug and chug, right? So we're going to plug it in to our savings plan balance formula, which is going to be A equals 150 times this big guy. So 1 plus 0.07, there's a point there, over 12, all to the power of 12 times 4, no, minus 1. All that's on top, right? And then on bottom is just our little fraction. So we're going to have 0.07 over 12. Now, remember, Miss Tanya, put the top in, get that answer. Find your bottom answer, and then do that top divided by the bottom, okay? Because you have the 83. Okay. So then this is going to equal 8,281.39. That's what I got. Yeah, let's do it and check, just make sure. So alpha y equals enter 150 times, let me do that again. So 1 plus y equals enter 0.07. I can't check all these because I'm not going to run out of time and y'all will not be able to watch the video in class, but we're going to try to do some of them. 12 times 4. I'm going to go out and say minus 1. I almost put negative, and that would have been, no, disastrous. Okay, now here, that guy. And then alpha y equals enter 0.07 over 12. Yep, right on. Cool. Love it. Love it. Okay, now number 7. We're going to use the savings plan formula to answer the following question. At age 44, you start saving for retirement. If the interest plan pays an APR of 5% and you want to save $1.4 million when you retire at 21, how much should you deposit monthly? Okay, so let's make our key. Our A, we know how much we want to have at the end, right? So it's 14000000. A lot of zeros. I like to have that many when I retire too. So APR 0.05, right? We'll change that over. How many years? So when you retire in 21 years. So our years is going to be 21. What's our N going to be? Let's do it like normal. Our N is going to be what? We make monthly deposits, right? So our N is 12, and then our Y is 21. We're solving for payment, right? Because we want to see how much we're going to make. So let's do that. So payment equals, so 1,400,000 times. Now we flip that guy right there, pretty much, right? So top, we're going to have 0.05 over 12. Now on the bottom, 1 plus 0.05 over 12 raised to 12 times 21 minus 1. And I'm going to extend my line out a little bit, okay? So then when we put that in the calculator, we get 3150.73. Everybody cool with that? Right on. Okay. So number 8, we're going to compute the total and the annual returns on the described investment 6 years after buying 200 shares of X, Y, and Z stock for $70 per share. You sell the stock for $20,800. So first, you have to find so we have to do 20,800 divided by 200, right? 200 shares. So that's going to give us, hang on a minute. Sorry. 104. Now, we're going to have to find the total return. So we take 104. I don't know what just happened to my voice. I'm so sorry. Minus 70, all divided by 70. So that gives us 34 divided by 70. So we want it in percentage, so then we would multiply that by 100%. That gives us approximately 48.67%, and this is our total return. So 48.67%. My goodness. So now for the annual return, we take the 104, this number, divide it by 70. And we all raise that to 1 over our year, right? And our year was 6, so it says 6 years, so 1 over 6. And then we subtract 1 from that, right? You got that formula in your little fact sheet. So that gives us exactly 0.06820. But we want to take this and multiply it by 100% because we want it to be in a percentage form. So we're going to move this over 2, so that's going to be 6.820%. But we want 2 percentage points, so that would be approximately 6.82%. Oh, 6.82 would be your answer there. I just made an executive decision. As I do this sheet right here, I'm going to take this problem out of the test. You did it on your homework. We did it in class. So this is not going to be on the exam. It takes a while. There's so many parts of it, and I feel like the exam's long enough, and I don't want y'all to have to do that one. So that one's not going to be on the test, okay? Because historically, students have really struggled with this one, so let's just take it off. Cool. Done. All right, let's go to 10. $15,000 at a fixed APR of 6% for 15 years. We're going to calculate the monthly payment. Then we're going to determine the total amount paid over a term of the loan. Of the total amount paid, what percentage is paid toward the principal and what percentage is paid for interest? I don't know why there's that big gap. Okay, So let's make our key first, okay? So our key, I'm going to make it up here because we don't have a whole lot of room down here to work. So what's my A? 15,000. What's my APR? 0.06. What's my N? Monthly payments, right? 12. And then my Y? Years 15. Okay, so here's our little key. Okay, so we're figuring monthly payments, so we're going to use our payment. So 15,000 times 0.06 over 12, right? Now, all of this is divided by, on this one, so we have 1 minus 1 plus 0.06 over 12. Now, this is raised to our negative power, right? So it's going to be negative 12 times 15. And then, I need a bracket. Again, Miss Tanya, figure out the number for the top and then divide it by the number for the bottom, okay? A divided by B, or however you want to think about it. Okay, so when we put this into the calculator, what do we get? I got $126.58. I hope I got the same thing. So that is the number that goes in the first one, 126.58. So we want to figure out the total payments over the term of the loan, okay? So if we take 126, we know we pay that monthly, right? So that's 12 times a year for 15 years. So what does that give you? I got 22,784. Let's check that one. It seems like a good time to check. Yeah, right on. Okay. About to have to sneeze too. So this is our total payment over the term of the note. So it's 22,784.40. Now, of the total payment over the term of the loan, what is toward principal and what is toward interest? So if we take this 22,784.40 and we subtract this 15,000, right? My pen all right? So we have that, and then we subtract 15. That's going to give us 7,784.40. So this was the principal, right? So we subtracted the principal. So this amount is interest. But to figure out the percentage of the interest, we're going to take 7,784.40 and divide it by the total amount. So by the 22,784.40. Okay, and see what that gives us. And then we're going to multiply that by 100% because we want it to be in a percentage. So we take this, divide it by that guy, and then multiply it by 100%. So that's going to give us approximately 34.17%. So this is toward the interest, right? Because this guy, this is interest. So he would go 34.17. So that's our interest. Now we want to know how much went to the principal, so we're just going to take 100% and subtract 34.17% and see what that is. So if we take 100 and subtract 34.17, we get 65.83%. So that would go here. Okay? All right, let's do this last one. It's got a lot of moving parts. So you need a loan of $160,000 to buy a home. Calculate your monthly payments and total closing cost for each choice. Briefly discuss how you would decide between your two choices. So choice one, you have a 15-year fixed rate at 5% with closing cost of $2,700 with no points. Choice two, you have a 15-year fixed rate of 4.5% with closing cost of $2,700 and 4 points. So what is your monthly payment for choice one? What is your monthly payment for choice two? What is the total closing cost for choice one? And what is the total closing cost for choice two? And then we're going to decide why choice one might be a better choice, okay? So let's just figure this out. Okay, so for choice one, let's use this. So for choice one, we know it's a 15. Well, both of them are 15-year, but it's 15-year at 5%, no points, right? And this is the amount that we're going to invest. So let's make a little, I guess we can make our key over here, okay? So, no, I'm not going to make a key. You guys can make a key if you want to. But we know we're going to figure our payment, so it's going to be PMT equals 160,000. I don't have much room, so that's why I'm not making a key, right? Our rate is going to be 0.05, right? So it's going to be parenthesis 0.05 over, my N is going to be monthly because it's going to be monthly payments, right? So it's going to be over 12. All that is going to be divided by just our formula. So it's going to be 1 minus 1 plus, there are little fraction again, 0.05 divided by 12. My pen also won't smudge. Raised to a negative 12 times, what's our year? 15. And then we have, that's it, right? No minus, yeah, just 15. And we're going to close our bracket. So if we put all of that in, then that is going to give us 1265.27. I guess I can. APR was 0.05 in 12-year 15. There you go. Made it anyway. How about that? Okay, so this would be our monthly payment. So right, so that's how you guys would figure that out for your financial project, but with your own numbers, not with these numbers. Okay, so now for option 2, same thing, right? We have $160,000, 15-year, but this time it's 0.045. So that's going to be what we're going to do. So it's going to be payment, 160,000, 0.045 over 12, all divided by, almost went too far, 1 minus 1 plus 0.045 over 12 raised to the negative 12 times 15. That's 15, sorry. So that would give us approximately 1223.99. Okay, so now let's talk about the closing cost. So the closing cost for choice 1 was just $2,700 and no point. So we know closing cost for this guy is just plain old $2,700, right? Because with no points, we don't have to add anything else to the 2,700. Yeah. But this guy, he's the 2,700 plus 4 points. So if we take $160,000 and multiply him, we can't multiply him by 4%, so we're going to multiply him by 0.04. Well, that's going to be $6,400, right? So we add $2,700 plus $6,400. That gives us what? $9,100? So that's a pretty big difference in our closing cost, I would say. Pretty huge. Okay, so why might choice 1 be the better choice? The monthly payment is lower, the monthly payment is higher, the closing costs are higher, or the closing costs are lower. Closing costs are lower. Okay, so number 12. In order to gauge public opinion about how to handle Iran's growing nuclear problem, the research group surveyed 108 Americans by telephone and asked them to rate the threat Iran's nuclear problem poses to the world on a scale of 1 to 10. Describe the population, sample, population parameters, and sample statistics. Okay. So identify the population in the given problem. Choose the correct answer. So what do you think the population would be? If you said all Americans or A, you are correct. Right? So in order to gauge the public opinion to how to handle Iran's growing nuclear program, research surveyed 1,008 Americans, right? So they want to find out how all of us feel, so they surveyed 1,008 Americans. Okay. So identify the sample for the given problem. So what do you think the sample would be? I guess I should underline this and say that population, remember that is all, right? Everyone in the group. So we're going to identify the sample, and the sample is the smaller group. So what would the smaller group be? If you said D, the 1,008 Americans surveyed by telephone, you would be correct. Now, identify the population parameters in the given survey. Choose the correct answer below. If you said B, the mean threat rating all Americans on the Iran's nuclear program, you would be correct, because this is the number, remember, it's from the population. So this is the number from population. And then last, we're going to do the sample statistic. So we're going to identify the sample statistic, and this guy is the number from the sample. So what do you think that might be? If you said D, the mean threat rating on Iran's nuclear program from the 1,008 Americans surveyed by phone. That would be it, right? Because this would be the mean is the number from the 100. Why do I keep saying 100? 1,008 Americans surveyed by phone. Golly, new problem. I can't even read that one. So number 13, a researcher wants to decide the percentage given below. Describe how the researcher should apply the 5 basic steps in a statistical study. Assume that all the people in the poll answered truthfully. So the percentage of workplaces that have a water cooler. Just real quick and make sure I made all the corrections last time. Yeah, okay, good. All right, so determine how to apply the first step in the statistical study in this situation. Choose the correct answer. So the percentage of workplaces that have a water cooler. So we're going to determine how to apply the first step. So you guys read and tell me which one you think would be best. Well, I won't know what you say, but anyway, I want you to read it before I tell you what the answer is. So the answer is C. The population is all workplaces, right? The researcher wants to estimate the percentage in this population that have a water cooler. So we know this is the right answer because it says all, and it talks about a percentage that have. So the other ones, this one talks about all, right? The percentage is all the workplaces, but it says do not have. That's out. And this one says it wants to also estimate the number, and it's not a percentage. So that's another key that it was wrong. This one says the population is all, it says all, that's good, of the workplaces that have a water cooler. The research wants to estimate the number. So again, it says number. So you can see how you would have to read this to make sure it says all, percentage, and have. Okay, that's what we're wanting to get from that. Okay, now let's look at this one. Determine how to apply the second basic step in the statistical study in this situation. Choose the correct answers below. So we have the first one. The researcher should only gather raw data from workplaces that have a water cooler. The researcher should only gather raw data from workplaces that do not have a water cooler. The researcher should gather data about having a water cooler from the largest sample of workplaces from which the researcher can gather, or the researcher should gather raw data from all workplaces about whether or not they have a water cooler. Well, if you said C, you win the game because it says research about having a water cooler, right? That's important. And then also it wants the largest sample, right? Okay, awesome. On to the next page. This was like, I tried to put it on one page and it was just way too much, so I had to break it into two. Same problem. This is just the third step, okay? So determine how to apply the third step in this statistical study to this situation. You have the steps on your fact sheet, if you would like to read them as we go. So on this one, I guess I can read those too. As soon as I find them, so I get to that sheet. But y'all have your sheet, and you're supposed to be following along. So third step is collect raw data from the sample and summarize these data by finding sample statistics. So here's our sample statistics. So the sample statistic of interest is the percentage of workplaces in the sample that do not have a water cooler. Sample statistic of interest in the number of workplaces in the sample that do not have a water cooler. Sample statistic of interest is the percentage of workplaces in the sample that have a water cooler, and the sample statistic of interest is the number of workplaces in the sample that have the water cooler. So if you said C, you're correct. I'm going to do pink again. Sorry, I didn't change the color. So this again is talking about percentage, right? Because it's sample statistic. And then it's also talking about your sample that have. So that would be your keywords that you would look for in that one. So now we're going to talk about the fourth step. Fourth step is how we use the sample statistics to infer our population parameters. Man, that's so easy to say. So we have the researcher should use the sample statistics as an population value of the percentage of workers that do not have a water cooler. If the researcher followed correct procedure, he or she can be confident that the sample statistics is equal to the percentage of workplaces in the population that have a water cooler. The researcher should use the sample statistics for the population value of the percentage of workplaces that have a water cooler, or D, if the percentage of workplaces that have a water cooler is greater than 50% in the sample, the researcher can be confident that the workplaces have a water cooler. And this one is C. Again, because it says sample statistic, estimates for the population value, and then it talks about a percentage, and that they have a water cooler. So those are the reasonings. The last one says to determine about the fifth step, and the fifth step is that we are going to draw conclusions, okay? So a researcher knows that the sample statistics is equal to the population parameter, so he or she may draw conclusions with complete confidence. The researcher cannot draw any conclusions based on the value of the sample statistics, backward. The researcher should use the methods of statistics to determine the quality of the estimate of the population parameter and draw conclusions based on the estimate accordingly. There is no way to determine how well the sample statistic estimates the population parameter. Well, if you said C, you are correct. So methods of statistics is what it says, the population parameter, and then draw conclusions. That would be the answer there. Like reading a book, golly. Next, we're going to identify the sampling method as simple random sampling, systemic, convenience, or stratified. So an IRS auditor randomly selects audits for 50 taxpayers in each of the categories: single, head of household, married, filing jointly, or married, filing separately. So which one would this be? If you said stratified, you are correct. Now, what type of statistical study is most likely to lead to an answer to the following questions? If the study is an experiment, identify the control and treatment groups and discuss whether single or double blind is necessary. If the study is observational, state whether it is retrospective study, and if so, identify the cases and controls. A deep massage effective at relieving an ankle sprain? Okay, so the study is observational, or is it an experiment? So this one would be an experiment, right? So the control group would be sample members without any treatment, or the control group would be sample members that would receive aromatherapy. There would be no control group. There would be two treatment groups, one that does not receive any therapy and one that receives therapy. The control group would be sample members that receive a deep massage, and a treatment group that would receive that. Control group would be sample members that receive deep massage, and treatment group that would be sample members without any treatment, or the study is not an experiment. So this would be the answer. The control group would be sample members without any treatment, and the treatment group would be sample members that would receive, and this is supposed to be massage. However you spell massage. I just saw it a while ago. I don't think they just receive. Yeah, it would be massage, not aromatherapy. Sorry, that was from another problem. Got carried over. Okay, so if the study is an experiment, discuss whether single or double blinding is necessary. If the answer is if the study is an experiment, discuss whether single or double blinding is necessary. Choose the correct answer below. So blinding is not necessary, since it would not be possible to hide the treatment from the sample members. Double blinding is necessary so that neither the experimenters or the sample members know whether the treatment is being given to the sample members, or single blinding is necessary so that the experimenters do not know which sample members received the treatment, or this is not an experiment. Well, we know that's not true because we've already said it's an experiment, right? So blinding's not necessary because it's impossible to hide whether or not they're getting a massage, right? So they're going to know that they're getting a massage. So blinding's not necessary at all in this treatment or in this experiment. So if the study is observational, state whether it is retrospective study. Choose the correct answer below. So the study is observational and it is retrospective. The study is observational and it is not retrospective, or the study is not observational. Well, it's not observational, right? Because it's an experiment. We've already stated that. So the study is not observational. That's pretty much free points right there. If the study is a retrospective study, identify the cases and controls. Choose the correct answer below. So there would be two groups in the case. One that does not receive any treatment and one that receives a deep massage. But there would be no controls. The case would be sample members that receive a deep massage, and the controls would be sample members without any treatment. The case would be sample members without any treatment, and the controls would be sample members who receive deep massage, or the case is not retrospective, or the study is not retrospective. So we know it's not retrospective, right? It's not in the past, it's in the present, so this would be the answer. Plain and simple. It is currently happening, so. Because retrospective is one, like I said, when there was a seatbelt, right? And like we had to do it retrospectively so we didn't kill somebody in that experiment. Okay. So determine whether the following variable is qualitative or quantitative. Explain why. So remember, if it has an N in the word, that means numbers. If it does not, then that means anything besides numbers, okay? So home prices in a small town. So is that qualitative or quantitative? Right. The variable is quantitative because price is a numerical category. There you go. More free points. Okay, so use the 4-point bin, 96 to 99, 92 to 95, so on and so on, to make a frequency table for the set of exam scores shown below. Include columns for relative frequency, cumulative frequency, and frequency. That's what we're going to do here, okay? So you would have to write how many times each one of these show up, like how many times there's a number between 99 and 96, the frequency of that here, and then we're going to figure out the relative frequency and the cumulative frequency. Okay. How many pages do we have left? We're doing good. Okay, so how many times do we have a number that shows up between 96 and 99? Frequency on that. You said 5, you're right. What about 92 to 95? 3. What about 88 to 91? 5. What about 84 to 87? 80 to 83? 4. And 76 to 79. Somebody in the class add these up, and somebody in the class count these. And let's see if we get the same number, okay? Do we get 20 both ways? Okay, good. That's what we're supposed to have. All right, so these should add up to be 20, and there's 20 numbers in the loop. That's how you check yourself, right? Make sure that you got it right. If this does not equal how many are in your row, like in your set, then you did something wrong here. Okay? All right. So now we're going to do our relative frequency. Remember, that is the number here divided by the total number. So we're going to have 5 divided by 20, which is going to give us 25%. Y'all can carry on. 3 divided by 20, 15%. Again, 5 divided by 20, well, we know that that is 25% now, right? 1 divided by 20, so 4 divided by 20, 20%. 2 divided by 20, well, that's 10%. All these added up should equal 100%. So go ahead and add those up and see if we get 100. I'm going to have to put my 1 outside the box because I write too fat. This is a very small box, in case you're wondering. Okay, now cumulative frequency, we take what's in this box and just copy it over, right? But then now we take 5 plus what's in this box, so 5 plus 3 gives us 8. Now we take 8 plus this 5, that gives us 13. 13 plus what's in this box, 1, gives us 14. 14 plus 4 gives us 18. 18 plus 2 gives us 20. Okay? And we were supposed to have the same number down here, so we got 20. We're golden. Okay. So that's our frequency, relative frequency, and cumulative frequency. Because cumulative means it's accumulation, so it's accumulation of all of these together. Okay? All right. So on the instructions for this, it says use the frequency table for the age of recent award-winning male actors at the time when they won their Academy Award to construct a corresponding histogram. So you can draw this if you want to, and then see which one looks most like yours, or you can take the data, just see which one is the correct one, right? You do not have to draw it if you could use the data and just do it yourself. So let's look at the data. So from 70, let's start up here. 20 to 29, we had 0 actors. So every one of these, well, this one would be wrong, right? Because from 20, this would be 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. So from 20 to 29, it should be at 0. Well, this one's already way up here, so that's wrong. So we could just mark this guy out right away, okay? Like, just take him off the table. He's not even right. So our next bin is going to be this one. On all, well, not on him, on all of them. And that should give us 9. So this, we go from 0 to 20. So this would be what? 5, 10, 15, 20, right? They're all the same. So we know we're going to be at 9. So it should be a little bit before 10. So that guy's right. That guy's right. Okay, those are all right. So let's look at 40 to 49. We should be at 15, which is here. So this would be, if this is 30, this would be 40, 50, 60. I'm not putting a 0, I don't have enough room. So 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Just remember, that's really 30s, okay? So we should be at, this is 5, 10, 10, 15, okay? 5, 10, 15. 5, 10, 15. How about 30, 40, 50, 60, 70? Yeah, that's better. 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Good. Okay. So for 40, it should be at 15. So 40 This is our 40 to 49. This guy's at 5, so that counts him out, right? He's not at 15. 15 would be up here, so he's gone. 40, he's at 15, and he's at... So these two are still in the running, right? So now let's go to 50 to 59. It should be at 5. So 50 to 59. He's way down here at 1, almost, like pretty close to 1, so he's out, but he's at 5. So this guy's out, so we know this guy's the only one left, right? So he's good. So you see, like that's how you would do it. You would just go bin by bin and checking, because at 50 to 59, he's at 5. 60 to 69, he's at 3. 70 to 79, he's at 1. So he's our winner chicken dinner. Okay? So this darker looking one right here, this is our blue color, right? He's our boys. So this guy right here is blue. Huh. Let me use a real blue color. Blue. I'm just going to put a B. Y'all can understand that's blue, right? This guy's the red. So girls are red. Boys are blue. Cool. Sorry, it's not in color. Got my color rights restricted. I'm on restriction. Okay, so here we're going to consider the data and display it on the figure. So which group scored higher on the test? Boys in country D or girls in country F? So here's our D country and here's our F country, okay? So boys in country D. So here's our boys, the blue. Use my orange. So did boys in country D score higher or did girls in country F? So boys in country D scored about 510, right? So boys in country D equaled 510. And girls in country F, girls. It looks like they scored 530. So we have 510 and 530. So the girls scored higher. Which group scored higher on the test? Boys in country B or girls in country E? So country B, boys, 550, I'd say. Y'all with me on that? Girls in country E, 540. Dang, we lost girls. Oh, well. Okay. Gotta let them have one win. Or they quit playing with this. Quit playing those games with this. Okay, all right. So y'all get like how you read those? Sorry for the not color thing. Oh wow, here's some more not color thing. Losing today. Okay. 20 minutes and 2 problems. We could do that. That's doable. Okay, let me put this underneath the paper because I don't like it ticking. So again, this one says you can make a table, right? We don't have to. We could just use our data to check this one. This one's small. Yeah. Okay, we're going to make it bigger in a minute. So we're going to look at this data table below. Gives data for boys and girls in 6 countries who take a science test in 2012. Make a double bar graph for these data with the vertical axis running from 460 to 560. So we got it, same, right, make sure, that's the first thing you always check, make sure all of these are the same, right? Because if not, you're comparing apples to oranges and way different fruit, right? So we want to see, okay. Again, girls are the red. Boys are, of course, blue. So the first line is the blue one, okay? So these are the boys. And the girls are the second lines. all of them, okay? Same way, same scheme, not tricking you up on that or anything. Same scheme, okay? Same color scheme on all of them. Write them. All right. So let's look at A. So we're going to choose the right graph. So this one we got to just do the same thing we did last time, right? So A, it says boys are 495. So boys, 495, that looks about right, right? It's because boys are the blue, and it comes to about here's 480, 490, 495. Boys, 480, 490, 495. Boys are way over that. So we could just automatically cross this dude out, right? He's out. So here, boys, 480, 490, that's good. Boys, 480, 490, 495, he's out. This one's gone. So those two, just from A alone, looking at the boys, we could discard him. So now we can look at the girls at 502, 502. Those are still, both of those are still in the running. So let's look at B. Boys are 544. So B, 540, that's pretty good. B, 5, okay, we're good there. What about 552 for the girls on B? 552. Okay, what about C? Boys are supposed to be 530, so 530 is here on C. Good, good. What about D? Boys are 528. Where am I at? I'm on D. Yeah, D. 525. 5. That's pretty close, I guess. That's 30. That'd be pretty good. What about girls? 527. Pretty good. Pretty. What about E? Boys are supposed to be 557. Pretty good. What about girls? 448. B, 539. What did I miss? There's something that counted it out. Counted this one out. This is the right one, but I missed something. B, let's do it again. 530. D. What am I missing? Oh, they did switch the colors. Suck. The girls in this one is blue and the boys is red. They switched the colors. I lied. Switched the colors. So that's what made this one wrong. They were sneaky Pete's. They switched the colors. I'm like, that is completely the same. But they switched the colors. They made the girls be blue. Girls are blue. Boys are red. Sorry. They did switch colors. I was like, man, I know that one wasn't right for some reason. They switched the colors. Okay. That was it. All the other ones were the same. But this one they switched colors on. Suckers. Almost missed it. So I was going crazy right then. I was like, no way. Okay, so that is that. If you have any questions, I think there's like, I show there's, by my clock on my happy little phone, there's 14 minutes left in class. So, y'all, if y'all have any questions in my class, please ask Tyler, okay? I will be back Wednesday morning, and I will have my office hours, 11 to 12 and 1 to 2. So if you have any questions, you can hit me up, text me, not text me, I meant email. But you have the rest of this class, and you have SLA that you can ask Tyler questions on, and then you could also hit me up Wednesday, okay? If you have any questions before the exam. So, but don't worry about that one about the stock market thing. I'm going to take that off because that'll make the test a lot shorter for you guys too, and you won't have that time crunch that you had last time. Okay? All right. Have the best day.